In this presentation, we will generate, analyze, print, and export to Excel a comparative profit and loss or income statement within QuickBooks Online. For more accounting information and accounting courses, visit our website at accountinginstruction.info. We are in our test file in Craig's Design and Landscaping. We're going to go down to the reports on the left side. We're going to start off with the normal profit and loss, the standard profit and loss, which is probably in the favorites section, but if it is not, it will also be in the business overview. We're going to scroll down through looking for just the profit and loss report. We will select that report, run that report. Now we're going to scroll up to where the date range is and other information will be to make this comparative report. Our objective is to compare October and November of 2018. What we want to do is think about how would QuickBooks do this? How would QuickBooks set this up in order to allow for a quick adjustment? Because that'll make it easier for us to remember how to go about making a comparative income statement. So first, let's just choose the range that we want. That's what we're going to start, the 2 months that we will be dealing with. So we'll start up top, and I'm going to say this is going to be as of 10/01/18. That's 10/1/18 to 11/30/18. So October 1st through November 30th, that 2-month time period. We will then run that report and see what happens. You'll note that what happens is we only get one column of numbers, of course, because it's really, this is a timing statement, and what we gave it was a range. So it's now going to give us data, how we did, how we performed, income and expenses for the time range, the 2-month period of October and November 2018. What we wanted to do is to give us a range from October 1st to the end of October, October 31st, and a range of November 1st to November 3rd or November 30th. It's useful then to think, well, how could QuickBooks do this really easily? If you were the designer of QuickBooks, what would you do to make it easy for someone to do a comparison? Because you know that that's what someone's going to want to do. So you might say, well, what if we choose the entire range here, and then we distinguish, saying not the total tabs, but distinguish some type of break in the periods, such as months in this case. So if we go through this and say there's the total, but we're going to say select months now, that gives QuickBooks enough information, if we then run that report, to break out the 1 month versus the other month. Now note this is the same thing that we did for the balance sheet. However, in this case, we're dealing with ranges. So what it's doing now is having information from the 1st of October to the end of October and the 1st of November to the end of November. In this format, in this way, QuickBooks can give us a breakout of the periods to give us the monthly information. Notice how it will be displayed. We have October, we have November, and then it's going to give us that total. That's a nice format to have. It's also the case that we could choose more than just October. We could do this for multiple months. If we wanted to include another month, we can just change the dates from 9/1 and then select months and run that report. And now we've got 3 months there and the total for the time period. So now we have the total for the time of 3 months, which would be what we would have if we selected totals only, and we have that 3-month time period showing us performance per month. There's also another way we might want to do this, and it's a better way usually when comparing just 2 time periods, because it'll typically allow us to see the change, which is often what we want to see. This would be the method we would use if we want to see the total, combining those periods. If we want to see the change between them, then we're going to use another method. The way we're going to do that is we'll look at the current period and we'll tell QuickBooks we want you then to compare it with the prior one. So to do that, we're going to go up top and say the current period is 11/01/18, meaning November 1st through November 30th, the month of November. Then we will run that report. So here we have this information. We're going to change the months back to the totals only. So now we have 1 month of information, a standard, well, let's run that report, and we will have 1 month of information, a standard profit and loss for 1 month, that month being November 2018. And then we're going to tell QuickBooks we want you to compare that to the prior month. So note what we're doing here. QuickBooks is saying, give us the current period, and then tell us that you want to compare it to some prior period, and we will do that. So if we go to the prior period, we want to take the previous period, which is going to be the previous month. If we take the previous year, then it's going to look to last year and take last November. We want it to take October, so we're going to use the previous period. Let's first just check that off and then run that report. Here we have the information. We start off with November, the current period, and then it takes the prior period. Note that it is taking apples to apples. It's looking 30 days to 30 days. So because there's 30 days in November, it is taking October 2nd through October 31st. So comparing a 30-day period to a 30-day period. That's a little bit different than we saw happen to the balance sheet, because the balance sheet is really as of the end of the time period. So when we look at the prior time period, it's really taking the end of that period, the end of the month. When we look at the income statement, however, we're comparing a number, a time period of days. So the number of days in this case is 30 days compared to a 30-day time period. Notice that we don't have a total column. What we're going to do now is do a change column. So we want to go back up top and select the drop down, and we're going to say dollar change. So dollar change, and then run that report. We have then November, October, and the difference between the two. So for example, here's November for the landscaping service. Here is October, 30-month period in October, $40 difference. We have the change, very useful. Then we're going to go up top, previous period, and look at the percentage change. Percentage change, and we'll go ahead and run that report. And it will give us then, we'll run it one more time, that percentage change. And remember that that's going to be a statistical change. So when we compare to some other landscaping company, then we can't really compare the dollar amount change if they're larger or smaller to us, but we still want to think about and compare our activities to theirs. We can do so with ratios. That will be the case in many different areas, many different domains. So if we take that change, what we're doing is we're taking the change, 128 in this case, divided by the previous period, which is the 422, and that gives a 30.33 if we move the decimal 2 places to the right. That's how we're getting this percentage. The changes, once again, very useful for comparison, benchmarking to other companies. Next thing we'll do is some of our normal kind of customization. First thing we want to customize is the name of the report. So it's a profit and loss, no longer a profit and loss. We want to call it some type of comparison, a comparative profit and loss. So we're going to select this little pencil here, and we'll call this a comparative profit and loss, which I just pasted in there. So here it is. You can take a look at that. That's what we have there. Then we're going to do some of our normal customizations. We're going to scroll down. We want to get rid of the date and timestamp. We'd like to get rid of the cents so that we don't have the pennies involved. We're going to make the negative numbers be bracketed and red. So we'll do that up top. We're going to go to the customize section. So we will then customize. We're going to say that let's go to the headers and footer first. That's what I typically do. And scroll down and go to date prepared, time prepared, report basis. If we check that out first, we're going to run that report. Scroll down. We have now removed those items. That's nice. Scrolling back up, next thing we're going to do is customize once again. And we want to be in the general tab. We want to remove the cents, remove the pennies from the report. We're going to change it not to have a negative sign for negative numbers, but brackets, and make them red. So there we have negative signs, and we're going to say run that report once again, and there we have it. And that's really nice to see, especially in these change areas. So we can see where the negative changes really stands out for us, and that's going to be a useful tool for this type of report. There we have it. We're going to go ahead and save this report. We will memorize this report, then we'll export it. So let's first memorize this report or save it to a custom location. We're going to save and customize this report. It looks like this is the name that we want, customize income statement. We're going to put that into a group that we set up. We're just going to call it, we're going to add a group. I lost my group. We'll call it my reports. And we'll go ahead and add this report group and save that. And it's custom report saved successfully. Now we'll go down to the reports, and we will go to custom reports, and there we have it. Now notice it didn't save into my groups. I'm going to go ahead and edit this, and then we're going to add a report group again. I'm going to add a report group in my reports, save, and then we'll save Okay. And now we should have a custom report group if I close this back out. And that'll give us a little subcategory. So we can group these reports and have them organized in that fashion. Let's go back into the comparative income statement. And now we're going to print it and export it to Excel, just organize, practice organizing. So we'll print it using the Qt PDF printer, formatting it first. If we look through it, it looks like it all fits on one column wide. That's the main goal. We're going to say, okay, then let's go ahead and print it using the Qt PDF printer or any kind of free printer. That's what I like to practice doing. And then we're going to print this out. We'll save it to the desktop. So I'm going to go to the desktop. We're putting in this GGG file, which is Get Great Guitars, the future project that we will be working on when we do the full project. And this is going to be then a comparative income statement. Comparative income statement. And we're going to say it's as of the end of 11/30. Now we'll close this out. We're going to export it to Excel now. To keep that in mind, we're going to go to Export Excel. We do need Excel, of course, to do this. We are in Google Chrome. This is how it will look in Google Chrome. It will, of course, differ the look of the download in other browsers. So here is that information. Let's see if it fits all on one page by going to the second tab. This is the page layout. We look at the page layout. It does look like it's on one page wide, so that's good. We're going to go back to the normal view. Looks like there it is. There's our dotted line. We're going to go ahead and save this. So we'll go File, Save As, Browse, and then we're going to put that on the desktop. And we're going to go to that GGG file. We're looking for section 3. And then again, I'm going to call it a comparative. But I'm going to remove the PDF. It's not a PDF. And that'll save it as an Excel file. And say Save. So now we have that. Now I also want to include this in our comprehensive reports we had for section 3. So I'm going to now put this in a grouped file. And our goal here, how can we sort this information? This is useful in QuickBooks and any other kind of database program that we'll need. Any office job will have one. Here is our folder. We're going to go into that now. We are in section 3. So I'm going to open up section 3. And then here is our comparative income statement. We have just now added that. Now I'm going to open up the section 3 reports and add the comparative income statement to it. So I'm going to open up the section 3 reports where we have multiple tabs of everything we have done so far. So here's that. We've got an income statement and a P&L. I'm going to make another statement, and this is where another report, by hitting this plus, I'm going to double click on it, and this is going to be the comparative income statement. This is where we're going to put our next report, the comparative income statement. If we go back to the exported statement that we just had in Excel, and then we put our cursor on that triangle, we're going to select the entire report. You can select Control A as well. Right click on the selected area and copy. Then we're going to go to the new tab in our section 3 report and cell A1, right click and paste. So then we'll paste that. And so now we have in this one report, now we've got all the information. We can email this to somebody, or we can print a PDF from here. By going to the File tab up top, we can then print it, and we can use that Qt PDF printer once again to print the entire workbook, not the active sheet, but the entire workbook, and that'll print everything. So we can then print it to a PDF file and send one file with all the information. So these are things just to keep in mind with any kind of database program. Anytime you're sending multiple reports from anything, even if it's just like a list of names, or a list of clients, or a list of customers, or a list of any kind of information. It doesn't have to be financial. You always just want to think, how can I format this thing to look good? For more accounting information and accounting courses, visit our website at accountinginstruction.info.